This 1957 Dodge has more than likely laid dormant since the Reagan administration. Now, we recently got this truck to run and drive under its own power after sitting for all that time. Now the last step in our revival process is to wash away all those years of neglect accumulating on that hidden white paint. Think we'll be able to bring back that shine to a work truck that never was shown any love? Watch to the end of the video to find out. It's easy to just straight up pressure wash something, but in order to tackle a job this big, we need some reinforcements. Right now I'm spraying purple power on all the heavy areas to break loose the grime and make it easier to preserve the paint underneath. Just watch how it reacts and turns all those removables much darker. Listen, I've been in here for days because I cannot stop playing this game, and it just so happens that they are the sponsor for this video today. Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for being today's sponsor. And they started out just like any great success, a good idea and determination to be the best. Raid recently just hit their 2-year anniversary, and in that time they've become the #1 RPG in the US with over 1 million players every day. They've had over 2 billion battles and a massive community of players. And right now, Raid wants to thank their community for all the songs they've made, their competitions, their cosplay, all the content creators, and all the plain old good times that they've had just helping the player community. There are a ton of anniversary and event tournaments going on right now, so if you act quick, you can jump in on some free gifts and rewards while competing in the clan versus clan tournament. Raid also just released their first batch of the Shadowkin faction, an Asian-inspired faction with some amazing looking champions. And on top of all that, they have more big updates coming, including a new Doom Tower rotation with 2 tough new bosses. So if you want a head start in Raid, hit the link in the description or scan this QR code for a free epic champion named Jotun, as well as 100k in silver, 50 gems, and 3 ancient shards that will be immediately added to your inbox. Now if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just go find me in the game. My username is Dylan McCool, and if you're quick, you might even be able to join my clan. So go to your PC and your mobile and download it today and get the plan. Now before he notices you're gone, you gotta get back out there, dude. Come on, let's go. I tried a test spot at the bottom of the door to see if we were ready. Looks good. I didn't even know that body line was there. How many of y'all knew there was a horse decal on the door before I started this? At this point, it looks like we're basically repainting the whole truck. The contrast between light and dark is so intense here that by this point I'm having a hard time not being blinded by the glaring paint. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get excited. We're starting to look better than ever here, but what makes me the most nervous is how well the hood and roof will hold up. They get the worst exposure to the sun than anywhere else. And just to make sure the paint is even more protected, I resprayed the hood once more with purple power. Then I gave it a few more minutes to lift up as much dirt as possible. So far so good, well, as long as I don't mess it up. I'm pretty nervous here, I'm not gonna lie. That was rough, but we made it through. The paint held up surprisingly well to this gas-powered pressure washer, but we're only halfway through at this point. I gotta say though that I'm probably most excited to see how well this grill is gonna clean up. This truck was way dirtier than I'd originally thought. Look at that. There's before, and there's after. It's not perfect, but for something that's been sitting for no telling how long, literally years or decades even, that looks awesome. I didn't think it was gonna clean up that nice. Like, how long do you think this thing's been sitting for? There's no telling. Just a little bit of pressure washing made the difference. I had a little more confidence going into part 2. Even still though, the paint was potentially hiding a lot more than meets the eye. The window fell down years ago, so I figured a little water at this point won't hurt it now. It's on the list to fix, don't worry. Luckily, this side really isn't as bad as the other. This must have been away from whatever tree this truck sat under for all that time. But don't be fooled though, the hood is still just as bad as the other side. This spot was giving me a good fight. Either something had sat on the hood for a few years, or the paint was just mighty thin from being exposed to the sun for so long. Either way, every time I made a pass with the pressure washer, I would lose a little bit of paint along with my well-being. Who would have thought that the hood would shine? That's impressively so much cleaner than before. And if the roof holds up as nicely as this did, I will be ecstatic. If it doesn't, well, looks like we'll be breaking out the spray paint. Seeing these fenders clean up is amazing. That's something very unique to the design of this truck. And when they come back to life after all these years, it makes this whole endeavor worth it. You can't help but love how happy the truck looks here. It's almost as if he's smiling. The roof was the hardest part to clean. I sped this up for you because of how long this actually took in reality. I'm sure once they painted the cab, the roof never got cleaned again. The funny thing is, you can see the thin spots that show original paint underneath where they got a bit careless with the finished product. But after all, how many times will someone look at your roof on a 7-foot tall truck? The back of the cab made it easy to finish up the job. What you didn't see was me accidentally step through a hole in the bed and nearly twist my ankle. So I guess our Dodge here will still put up a fight no matter what. As the sunlight fell, I washed away any spots that I missed. And honestly, I could have stayed there all night just because of how excited I was. This has got to be one of the most satisfying pressure washing videos I've made. Now for the moment you have all been waiting for. The new and improved Big John the Dodge. I'm very impressed with how good the paint actually held up and how good it looks now. This truck looks 10,000 times better than what it did when we first started out. You know, you remember all this was covered in grime, all this was covered in just this black stuff growing all over it. It was nasty, everything was disgusting, but now you can see some spots have a little bit of shine coming through. Some places could probably be buffed and reused, but I don't see a point in that since it's going to be a work truck. But I'm just very excited with how good this thing looks. You know, from being pulled from the spot it was sitting in, after sitting for who knows how long, decades I would guess, to be as nasty as it is, and to come back to look like this and still be usable after all these years. This truck is from 1957 and it's still usable. So we're going to use the flatbed. We may replace some wood pieces on it because they're a little bit rotten, and you know, use that, maybe get some new tires. Overall though, I think this truck is awesome. I'm going to take it over to my new place, the new land that I've got where I'm building my new shop, and use it because we got a lot of brush over there, a lot of things that need to be moved, and I'm excited. You know, now I don't have to ride around looking at a truck that looks like it's literally been sitting in the same spot since new, but now it looks like it's only been sitting for maybe the last 10 years. So that's pretty great. I'm impressed by the paint. It's not perfect, as you can see. A couple spots that they got thin and maybe rusted a little bit right there, but I didn't really try to go too hard on the spots like that. You can see right here is a little more right here. Something might have been laying across that at some point, or where it was sitting, I don't know. But to see this thing glow, I mean, literally in this sunlight, it's almost impossible to stare at this truck, how bright that white is. I'm very impressed with how good it looks, and I'm excited to continue to use this thing. And that's gonna do it for the story of Big John. If you like this little mini series, make sure you subscribe. Don't miss out on the future builds that we've got going on. I'm looking at like 30 more projects in the background that really need to be worked on. And if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, make sure you go down, like the video, get this thing to 10,000 likes, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for all you guys do for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.